Hello, and I'm Ron Murphy, and welcome to the Ron Murphy Experience. And with me always, is my lovely co-host and manservant, Scott Simmons. Scott, say hello.
Hello, I'm clearly enjoying it.
Okay, that's enough. Nobody cares about you. Anyways, today I'm very honored to have our biggest guest ever, the world-famous traveler, best-selling author, and international recording artist, Ryan Quinn Flanagan. Ryan, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ron, and Mr. King Tex, King of Vaseline.
Yes, we have many things to suit your natural environment as we've flown you in on our own private jet. We have some spray on cheese, once I know is very good, very delectable to your people, and we have plenty of Rush CDs all around to make you feel at home.
Yes, I was really appreciative of the constant rush and also the bear that was stored in the bathroom with the peanut butter.
Yes, well that's for Scott. That's for Scott. We what he does with it, we don't ask. We don't ask. Don't let PETA know because those people are uptight. I'm just saying they must all be run by women because they seem to be uptight.
That's kind of sexy.
I think you know what I mean. I think you know. Well, let's get down with the questions. You've avoided this show for a long time, but you're no longer. Now you're in our clutches, and we're not letting you go. We've got you by the cojones, and we're going to ask the deep questions that nobody asks. Scott, I'm going to let you go with the first question.
All right, here's my question for you, Ryan. So, what time do you sleep, and are your doors unlocked?
I tend to catnap, and I do leave the doors open in the hopes that King Tex would make it here someday. I know his camera crew is already here, but I know it's a long way from Texas Universe.
Yes, yes, that's very informative. Very informative.
I did have a hot tub. I had a hot tub installed in the back too for if Ron wants to show up, and I got the shipments of yayo that you talked about, and I have them in the hidden compartments. They're just waiting.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
or
nice.
yeah.
You, sir, are a diplomat. I am seeking shelter and asylum in your country. Anyways, question number one. How do you feel about the recent COVID-19 outbreaks and how they've affected the Viking community? And what's your stance on the whole defunding the Viking raids on possible intolerant communities?
I have a feeling that the Vikings should be overfunded. Everybody's too sensitive, and that I think that could be solved if we just gave the Vikings all the funding and let them pillage all the communities, and then nobody would probably have any complaints, which would be great. As for the virus, I think we should probably just put it on a private jet back to China.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Excellent. I can even hear myself, which is wonderful. I love our new recording studio. Question number three. Ryan Quinn Flanagan. Tell us your story. Who is Ryan Quinn Flanagan? And what's the message he is trying to convey to us all?
Well, the actual name is an alias. I'm in the witness protection plan.
Yes.
Really, I'm Sammy the Bull Gravano, but I needed an alias to hide, so that this is the name I chose, and this is why I don't go on many shows. I've only done your show and Jerry Springer once, but that turned into a big mess. So
Yes. I was once on the. Actually, a lot of people don't know. Scott Simmons was on the first season of To Catch a Predator. We're very proud of him. He did very good in that role.
I think I saw that season.
Yes. Yes.
I think some old Texas Rangers brought him in and everything, and they were beating on him. It was pretty impressive.
It was great. I love that romantic comedy. It was a beautiful show. It really was. Scott, do you have a question?
I mean, after the accusation, let me try to think of one. Okay, I have an important question to ask you about how much do you chew your food, and where do you like regurgitate it at?
I chew my food only a third of the time because I don't like the full effort it takes. I'm a little lazy that way. And what I have is I have a collection of bird nests outside, uh, and I just climb the tree and I regurgitate into the mouths of all the little birds. So I'm basically work for the Canadian Wildlife Fund.
I figured that's what you did up there.
Hmm. You, sir, are the Grizzly Adams of Canada. Bravo to you.
Yep.
What is the secret to writing great poetry without props like podiums or coffee shops?
Well, you do need a specialized microphone. I know this one poet who carries his microphone around everywhere with him.
Hmm.
And but
Yes,
besides that, though, a podium may not be necessary, although you can transport it around in vehicles as well. And basically, you should really try to write poetry that is best being shouted at people about 2 feet from your face.
yes,
That's usually the best. I found that's the best response you get.
I do too. I've talked to the professionals and they all agree. And I know because I know a couple of professionals, like Bill Cosby, one of my favorites. He got
Yeah,
a bad
yeah,
rap, that's all I'm saying. He makes
yeah.
delicious snacks. He really does. He really does.
Bill's a great poet and a great guy to have around. I met him at bartending school. He's fantastic.
I did as well. I tell you, I had one of his cocktails and I was asleep the whole night. It was fantastic. It
Yeah,
was, I heard a little in some areas, but I'm just saying I'd probably fell down on something. You never know.
yeah.
You never.
I felt a little sore as well, but I figured it was just because I fell down the stairs laughing watching reruns of the Cosby Show. That's all I figured it was.
Yeah, I'm sure I fell into a broom handle with one of my records by accident.
I know you said he really opened you up, Scott. Now we get to the next question. I'm not letting you off that easy. A perfect evening for you. Sum it up. And how would I envision it? Through the eyes of an angel or John Stamos?
Well, a perfect evening would involve a hot tub full of hookers, cocaine,
Mm.
uh, brought in on King Texas Texas Airlines Learjet, and I'm guessing Mr. Simmons shirtless in a large shag carpet in the middle of the room, and probably with a mask on because of the virus, because we want to be responsible.
Yes, I was COVID before COVID was cool. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Everybody's so trendy now with the virus. We all had it early on, like a few decades ago. I think John Stamos is just jealous of that anyway. And I basically told him to fuck off. That this isn't a full house.
Yeah. Yes. 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 I know. He tried to ride the coat of the Beach Boys and Metallica for too long, and I've had enough of that bastard. I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
Now my next question, and this is a deep one, and I think most of the poetry community wants to know this. Celine Dion's influence shines heavily in your work. What are some of the lesser known influences we may not be aware of, and are any of them single?
Obviously, Rush is huge in my work.
Yes, yes,
Uh, just it's hard to get through a day without hearing Rush. Certainly, Justin Bieber, just a stand-up guy, a total classic artist like Mozart, and a little bit of Ron Jeremy, a little bit of Larry Flint, and I think you know Larry Flint, Ron. He said he knew you very well.
oh yes, yes. He's a fine
He,
gentleman. He really
he
is.
said you even granted him wheelchair access to a special hot tub, so he said he was very happy about that.
It was true, but unfortunately it was an electric one, and it singed my
Oh,
ass when it got in the water. It hurt. It hurt. It really did.
I don't see how it's an issue.
Well, excuse me. Whose name is on this show, Scott? You're the engineer. You operate those buttons, those doodads that me and Ryan don't know what they mean. That we were having trouble with earlier. A lot of people don't know. We had almost a near catastrophe because Scott plugged in the toaster oven and almost burnt the whole place down. So you just stay in there and ask your next question.
Okay.
it'd
All
be
right.
it'd be a shame. It'd be a shame if he burnt his house down with all those little children in it that are chained to his table.
Yes,
Well,
I'm
it'd be
any
real
question.
strange if I just, I happened to get out of the show. Just
It's almost
say,
like always sound in here. It really is. I'm just saying.
okay. As far as my other question goes, I'm gonna ask you something. I'm gonna ask you like, this. So, what's your favorite place, like, for nude tricycle rides? Like, do you like to go to the beach? Do you like to get salons or what?
My favorite nude, what?
Your favorite nude tricycle place, like, where you ride the tricycle too?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I like to ride it to the beach, but not on the beach because it's too hard to pedal.
Hmm.
Um, plus, what you tend to get pulled over. They think there's a lot of riffraff down at the beach area, so the last thing you want to do is get pulled over nude on a tricycle and try to explain that you just came from Scott Simmons' house and there was a bunch of strange children there.
well, I actually got arrested for that recently. Well, I'm saying for the tricycle thing because I ran over a couple of people that were mocking me.
No, it's okay to run them over, as long as you say sorry afterwards, it's fine.
There isn't much left to say sorry to.
Oh,
Never,
that's fine. You
never.
just say sorry to the bits. It's cool.
Just tricycles, they're speed demons, dude.
That's a very deep question. I think people will really be satisfied with that one. I do, I know I will. Ron Murphy it has a bit of a cold, or the gonorrhea. I don't really know. Either one. They're both very much the same. I know I don't have the disease because I always wear a mask at all times. Anyway,
As long as you have an audience, you always have the clap.
Well,
exactly.
Ron, why doesn't your mask cover the mouth?
I think you need to mind your own business. This is not the Scott Simmons show. You need to quit asking so many questions to try to make Ron Murphy slip. You're not. You know what you remind me of? That goddamn John Stossel. What you remind me of. You
I
know,
did
just
not
because you
see
killed your husband and put him under the tiger cage doesn't mean everybody else did.
that.
You know,
That is not even John Stossel, Ron. Like that
that's
is
John
true.
Stossel.
Wrong
I know. I watched the Tiger King. I think I know what I watched. I watched it on your Netflix. Remember the one that I may have got access to your grandmother's credit card? Well, somebody did. I mean, not Ron Murphy. I don't steal. Anyway,
I think John Stamos auditioned to play the tiger originally too, and he didn't get the part, of course, because he's an asshole.
that's right because he's an attention whore. Nobody
Yeah,
likes Stamos. They really don't. They really
yeah.
don't. No. You are the author of many books. If you were trapped on a non-desert island with Gilligan and Ginger somewhere in Idaho, what book of yours would you recommend to either person to read? And what wine would go best with each book?
Hmm.
You don't get that question everywhere. You really don't.
No, these
Okay.
are the tough questions. I guess with Gilligan, I would go with a very Boys Town Christmas. That's a great book.
Yes.
And with Ginger, I would go with Hustler, again from our Larry Flint friend, and I would pair it with a nice Bill Cosby confection that would just really a knockout for the night, I think.
Oh, that bravo to you. That was a tough one. That stumped many other poets on here. I had another who actually works for the Keebler Elf factory, and he didn't know how to answer. We have to reschedule because he didn't understand that, and he forgot his microphone. So he
Oh,
likes to have his own microphone because he knows
yeah, you,
where.
you can't you can't forget the microphone. You got to store that in a safe place so you can carry it around with you at all times.
Now I have one, and this is sent in by Lance Armstrong, or as I like to call him, the Uniballer. This is a very and this is a very complex question. I'm very surprised. He must not be doing the roids anymore. What are your thoughts on the recent accusation of Popeye's domestic abuse claims against olive oil? And if true, can he seek political asylum in Canada?
Yeah, Popeye is always open to seek political asylum. He'll probably have to go to Newfoundland because he seems to fit in with the anchor tattoo and everything, the fishing villages. So
Yes.
he'd fit in. He'd probably look a little weird in the city, but yeah, I don't know about the claims. I'd imagine they're bogus. Ron Jeremy has some new ones against him as well. and pretty much
Hmm.
everyone else. So I'm not surprised that Popeye does as well. Um, the only thing here is we don't eat a lot of spinach, so there is a spinach shortage. But they do smoke shitloads of weed here, which is kind of like spinach. So as long as he's willing to smoke his food instead of eating it, then he should be fine.
Hmm. That that is very informative. Yes, yes, yes,
Remember, kids, always smoke your vegetables.
yes. I like that you don't dodge the heavy questions. A lot of people
Yeah.
do. A lot of people do. There's a lot of people who avoided this. Karen Carpenter has refused to be on this show numerous times. I've sent over to the record company. They won't have her on. She's scared to face Ron Jeremy. I mean Ron Murphy. Excuse me.
That's
I
kind
have
of stupid,
ah,
Rob.
yes, yes. Or Patsy Cline. She hasn't been on here, and we really offered her to fly her in. I know how those divas are, and I don't understand why she wants. Apparently, she has an aversion to planes. I don't understand why.
Is it true that she's an anorexic witch from Indiana?
I don't know though. That I can't. I'm a broadcast journalist. I can't be saying those things, but I've
Oh,
heard it's true. No one listens to Ron Murphy. I keep saying Ron Jeremy. Now you apparently you're using your mind control ways. I've heard about this.
I think it's just because you're inspired by Ron Jeremy, Ron. You're
No,
very
I did
inspired by
watch
him.
one of his classy art films. It was actually I think it was Othello. Very good movie. Very 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 long film actually. Anyway,
Yeah.
yes. How many different ways can you get water from a lake at the foot of the mountain up to the top of the mountain?
there are 69 ways,
Okay. Yes.
exactly 69, and the last one is the most fun.
Oh, yes. Water slide or the log
Yes,
flume. Yes.
yeah,
Right.
it's a reverse water slide actually, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm.
I'm not gonna ask.
Oh, you have a question. Look who's piping in now after he almost burnt down the studio.
I said all right. Wait. Okay, I have a very deep question. So this is a theoretical one, but can I leave the studio? Like, is there any way I can do it, or is this shackle not coming off?
I've told you we're in the middle of recording. You were given a cracker and a bottle of water last week. You're too demanding. You're an intern. You're not supposed to get anything. Technically, we're not supposed to pay you. We'll have to fire you. So anyway,
Well, he does get the cattle prod, but he seems to like that, so that's not really a good form of discipline.
mm, yes.
I mean,
Here's
doesn't feel
here's a
bad.
question we've got from Scott Simmons. The other Scott Simmons. I think this is the other one that we like. This is what is your favorite film of all time, and how has this affected Scott Simmons after dark?
My favorite film is Debbie Does Dallas, and
Yeah.
it affects Scott Simmons because he basically sees it as a feminine attack on the state of Texas. And he actually started an uprising and has to fight off all these feminazis that he believes have invaded Dallas and Texas more properly.
That's a beautiful answer. That really is. A lot of people avoid those kind of questions, but you don't seem to, and that's what I like about you. You know what? I know all the rumors out there about you being the Darth Vader of poetry, but I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I really don't. People are just being ignorant.
I,
I
I, I
don't know
have
why they
I
say
have
that.
heard that. I have heard that I'm the Darth Vader of poetry, and that I live in a Death Star, that I just fly around piecemeal. But
I
yeah,
know.
don't believe the rumors.
I know. It's like when people say that I am a deadbeat dad. That is not true. I am not.
No,
In fact, I'd only march to the beat of my own drummers. I'm not a deadbeat. I'm a new beat. A lot of people don't know
yeah,
that. Yes,
that's an individualist. That's different than a deadbeat.
exactly, exactly.
So you're an individualist that like you mysteriously has the poop fairy visit my room at night.
Just because somebody crapped in your pants doesn't mean I did. You need to remember that was one time when we were on tour. I mean, you need to get over it. UTV doesn't tour anymore.
It was 14 times, but
No,
I'm not counting.
I don't think so. I can't count that high. But anyways, name your favorite
Just got to
fart.
remember,
Name your favorite fart. and its last known location, and also its current whereabouts.
I would say it's that big cloud that's sitting over China, and they
Oh,
try to play it off as smog, but it's not smog, and it's actually it's like a star that was born a billion years ago. This fart happened like a billion years ago, and it carried through space time, and now it just hovers over China, and they call it pollution. But that's my favorite. Yeah.
no, that is beautiful, and you get them. You get those dirty people. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, but we all know where
Mm.
that came from.
Yep.
Those people in Holland. I know exactly where it came from. But anyway,
Yep.
they have expensive beer and they have expensive taste, but they always have
Those
good
damn.
porn. They really do. They really have excellent porn. I have
Robert,
what
just see, how do you fuck up geography that much? Like,
I don't mess up geography. I'm a professional. That was John Stossel who put out those rumors. John Stossel is after Ron Murphy. I know he is. He's almost as bad as John Stamos. Anybody named John is evil. It's a natural known fact.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's just a fact. I'm
Yeah.
asking for a friend. What's the best advice you would give a 22-year-old virgin on how to approach women and the best way to lure them in?
Obviously, not naming names. Um, the the old crouch in a trench coat in the bushes approach at night hasn't seemed to be working. So I might just try the old Flintstone club over the head. I don't know if this, said person we're not naming has tried that. Another one, of course, would be to go to a Dungeons and Dragons game and try to be the manliest man there so that you can hook up with one of their sisters. I think that's a good strategy as well.
Yes, that sounds like somebody we know who might be the engineer of this show. I'm not naming names.
yeah, it's so subtle. I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, Canadian College. Describe the differences between it and the superior planet of Texas Bareback University.
Well, Texas Bareback University, of course, everybody knows all the greatest minds come from there.
I agree.
Um, our Canadian college is basically we allow it's a school for the Special Olympics. Basically, we allow all the quote special kids to come in, and they each try to learn a sport by the time that the 4 years is up, and then they can compete against the rest of the world. Obviously, not against Texas Bareback because that's the most prestigious school in the world.
Oh, yes, yes. I don't know. I don't like Texas. I've heard some rumors about them. That and they let Scott Simmons in there. We know that something has to be wrong with that place. I'm just
Wow,
saying.
today.
Now I have one that's I have to go to the rumor mill. Yeah, I'm a broadcast journalist, so I have to ask these things.
Mhm.
I wouldn't win 12 Emmys and 15 DUIs if I did not ask these deep questions.
Didn't want any.
I I think you need to hush up. You're being a hateful person because you're mad because you only got one bottle of water this week and you were supposed to get two. So you need to shut up or I'll make sure you get none. Anyway,
Wow, thank God.
yeah, you listen. The recent heat between you and Chad Kroger of Nickelback. Please tell us about the Beaver Aid incident.
Well, it started over an argument over Avril Lavigne,
Mm,
um,
yes,
and
yes.
he dated her for a time, and I think he gave her Lyme disease. She blames it on a tick,
Mm,
but she was bedridden for years, and I noticed he didn't spend any time in that bed, so that makes me wonder about Chad right away. But we basically got into a discussion about that if you had a girlfriend who was bedridden for years, would you actually be in the bed? And if you weren't, what would that imply? And then Chad got upset with me and threatened to put out a new Nickelback album. So I had to relent to actually save the world from uh, being ear fucked by Nickelback again.
yes, yes. They are rough. But I know Scott has all their albums. I knew somebody bought them. Apparently Scott Simmons does. That's a whole different issue. At your upcoming reading at UTB, The last was compared to a biblical event. How will this one top that?
Well, this one will be the second coming. This will be the apocalypse. So
Oh, yes.
if Walt Disney was pissed off last time and had to send me copyright problems, then they'll really hate this one because basically I have to do the apocalypse now. I got to do the second coming because Frat House Jesus, is such a lazy asshole. He's not even coming back this time, and nobody knows that yet. So to keep that on the down low. But UTB has to prop things up, and we have to do the apocalypse now and put it on because that lazy bastard, he's not coming back.
No, but they're going to see you coming. That's the important thing. That's what they've been
Yeah,
put on notice. Scott, have you got that? That they're going to see Ryan coming.
that's right.
I have it. But,
Scott, are you unconscious yet?
I
Glad to
mean,
know drugs are
I
kicking in.
wish I was.
Oh, okay. Well, what is your question, Scott? I know you have one.
Let's see. Okay, I have a very philosophical question for you, Ryan.
You're a very philosophical man, I've noticed.
Yeah. It's what is your phone number, and would you be angry if I gave that to Jason Voorhees?
My phone number is the same as Jason Voorhees, so no, I would not be upset at all. Jason's mom's hot, by the way. And of course, what I just told you is false because, as I mentioned earlier, I am in the witness protection plan, and I am Sammy the Bull Gravano, in fact. But this is my alias we talk to.
Yes, I thought you looked familiar. I'm just saying. I met you one
Yeah,
time in Honolulu, New Mexico. Right down there. I remember. I remember.
yeah. Honolulu, New Mexico is beautiful.
It is. It is beautiful this time of year. It really is.
Mm. I like Chernobyl, Florida as well. There's a lot
It
of
really is
beautiful
good.
places.
You can turn off your lights and you can glow in the dark. You don't even need lights in there at night. It's fantastic.
That
Beautiful.
sounds healthy.
That's very true. They're very forward thinking.
Mm. Now I have to ask. I have to. There's so many great questions, especially this one that was sent in from our many listeners. A lot of people don't know that we get a mailbag. Other places get a mailbag, but our mailbag is bigger, and it's filled with much more things and naughty pictures. What's wrong? What's Scott Simmons all likes? I found him masturbating in the mailroom very often. But anyways, the Ryan Quinn Flanagan spoken word album for the deaf. Color me interested. Please do tell.
Well, it's a project we started again because we figured that the deaf were lazy, so we had to
Right.
find a way that we could make something for them to be involved that didn't take any effort on their part. And now we have it worked out that we can actually make the deaf hear our spoken word album. We just had to turn it up loud enough, like any spoken word album, any good spoken word album. You have to get a megaphone and you got to get 2 inches from their face, whether they're deaf or not, and just yell at them for an hour. And they just seem to love it. The audience absolutely loves it. And the two people that showed up just standing applause all night.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love the Marley Matlin Christmas album. One of my favorites. It's really beautiful. It kind of sounds like Flipper is on land. It's beautiful. Beautiful album. Really is. Her version of White Christmas.
I like the. Have you heard of the John Wayne Gacy Clowns Around Hour? That one's a good one.
No, I haven't heard that, but now you really can color me interested.
Kind
I'm
of
fascinated. I really am. So is Scott. I can tell. Canada, please let me know the do's and don'ts of visiting your hostile country.
A definite don't is don't come here because we are extremely hostile people, as everybody knows. We are the bane of existence. I don't know how the Americans got us as neighbors.
I don't know.
They could have had a nice, peaceful people like, the Libyans or, Martians, but instead they got Canadians. Another thing, when you come here, you have to wear a toga for the first 3 weeks to show that your willingness to fit in with communal standards. And you have to own at least 2 pet beavers by your 3rd year in Canada, or you lose your citizenship. And that has to be actual animal beavers and not the ones that we'd be talking about, Ron, in the hot tub.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was going to say I loved visiting your country. I had a good time.
Yeah, yeah. I
I,
thought
My
I thought
son
it was
tried to
best.
smuggle in drugs, and we had to go through the woods. But
I have.
luckily, the sounds of Simon and Garfunkel's mariachi band led us to your home. I knew we would find you. I knew it. I knew it.
Just follow the rush.
That's right.
Like, okay, like this is something curious. Like, do you have to like mark your territory with your urine? Like, because you Canadians, you're much more primitive than us.
Yeah, our actual border with your country is actually just a line of urine, and we hire walkers. We call them walkers every day, and they're paid well, but they just walk around the border and they just scent the territory so that the Americans will know where the hostile Canadian territory begins, so that all the Americans' peaceful aims can remain safe from the onslaught of Canadian violence.
Mm,
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful. Time travel. What have you seen? And what is the future of existence? And will the Happy Meal still be around? And what will be the toy?
The Happy Meal is still around. Scott collected all the toys,
Mm,
and I noticed in the future it was amazing. Actually, he was the only 100-year-old virgin. He was a centenarian who had reached the 100-year-old virgin mark, and had also collected every Happy Meal in existence and gone back in time to get up the other ones. So he's quite famous. They have a statue of him, which of course got torn down 5 minutes after it was erected because that is the way of things.
wow. Now, you know, Ryan, we went there with deep questions, but now I have to ask a sincere question, and I think a lot of people want to know, that only I'm bold enough to ask, because I fear nothing. I'm fearless. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think I'm senseless, but that's not true. I had a frontal lobotomy, and I feel fine. But anyways, is it true you consume alcohol? And what is your fondest memory of drinking that doesn't involve drowning a hooker in a hot tub?
Well, my fondest memory is that I suffer from fetal alcohol syndrome because my mother drank a lot of alcohol.
Mm,
Um, I don't remember drowning too many hookers. I remember Scott just saying, "Don't say anything about it,"
oh yes, yes, that's
and and then he drove off with the body. So we don't know actually what happened. We went back in the hot tub, and we were partying it up with the Yale or whatever. But Scott drove off earlier, and I just remember him saying, "Don't worry about it. I'm UTV's caretaker, and it's all taken care of." And that's all I remember.
yes. I remember that. That was that when we all went to Vegas for the big wedding, bachelor party.
Yeah,
We had a good time. We had
yep.
we did some naughty things that we should probably be in jail for. I'm just saying, you know.
That's the great thing about Vegas. They don't have any jails, and they have more hookers than parking spaces.
I know, and yet Scott still couldn't get laid. Still
That
a
that's true. He was trying to hump a statue, but they made him stop.
That's true. Frat secrets. Tell us a secret that nobody knows about each member of the frat. And there's no limits on this question. I want to know. You let me know now.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's a secret that people will know, but Scott's code word is Tetris.
Yes,
For when he needs to have his personal happy time. That's his own Happy Meal, and I think you already mentioned the one earlier that John was named after all the evil Johns in history, um,
that's true. Yes,
like John the Baptist and John Stamos and all those other assholes.
yes,
And so he was actually christened the asshole name, so everybody would know what a horrible person he is.
that's true. He runs a Legion of Doom. A lot of people don't know he worships the devil too. A lot of people don't know this. I know. I know. Ron Murphy knows.
Yep.
Ron Murphy knows.
Yep.
I think you're leaving out one member. The member that everybody wants to know about, Ryan Quinn Flanagan. I haven't heard any secrets. I want to know. You tell me a secret now.
Yeah.
Uh, a secret would be that he actually has cases of fine wine hidden down in his basement. And he had them smuggled in with some of Ron Murphy's specialties and party favors, which we mentioned earlier. I have the hidden compartments, and they're ready for you for pickup. I don't know if we should be saying this over the show.
It's on public broadcast. Nobody listens to this. Nobody listens.
Oh, okay. Public broadcast. No problem then. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yep, they're here for pickup, and when you're ready.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What influence has Ron Murphy had upon your writing?
Well, he's my new manager and my new literary agent. He's obviously my cocaine guru, and his nose whiskey has had a great influence on my writing. You know, I think when I started out, I kind of wrote like John Stamos, but now through the influence of Ron Murphy, we've achieved Ryanetics, and we've achieved a new balance now in futuristic space writing and time travel.
All things are power. All power and glory to Ryanetics, because I know I've learned a lot. I've found a lot in myself. Scott found an inner child, but now he still has to stay a couple feet away from me. But you know that happens. We're not going to mention the incident in his self-exploration. I'm just saying.
Well, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Well, Scott just got confused that the inner
Right,
child wasn't supposed to be another child inside you.
Ryan, when did you stop masturbating at funerals?
You're assuming I stopped.
That's a very valid point.
Yeah, I would not make that. I would not make that assumption if I was betting. Don't forget, funerals are a place for stiffs.
That is true. What made you leave the ice capades, and do you ever miss it?
I do miss it.
Yes.
It was a great experience, but I don't know why they paired me with that bitch Nancy Kerrigan. I really wanted to be with Tonya Harding, and she seemed like a really good woman. And but they paired me with Nancy Kerrigan, and then she'd cry all the time about things. So I couldn't take it after a while, and I left the Ice Capades. I do feel sorry about not getting the chance to work with Tonya Harding, though.
She really got a bad rap. She really did. She really did. I
Yeah.
don't know why she got it, but you know, it does happen. What is the message you most like to convey to your readers?
It would probably be to drink as much as you can. Obviously, jump in the hot tub, coke yourself up. If the blood's coming out of your nose, it just proves that you're alive. That's that red ooze of life coming out, so you know that you're alive. It's similar to Scott Simmons' inner child, except it's actually a part of your body. And basically, party with Ron Murphy as often as you can, and make sure that it's so good that you don't remember it in the morning. And that helps if Bill Cosby's the bartender as well.
Yes, it does. Now we're going to get to the final segment. And as always, I'll just word association. I give you a word, you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
All righty, the first thing that comes to you. So just like the reading, everybody's going to see it coming. They're going to literally see Ryan coming on the new reading. He's told us.
That's right. That's right. It's guaranteed. It's in the contract.
That's right. If Disney doesn't like you coming, then they can go fuck off. You know, that little rat is weird. I'm just saying. He only wears pants and he wears gloves. Why does he wear dress gloves when he has only a pair of button-up pants? And why do they have buttons when he has no suspenders? That makes no sense. I don't understand. Anyways, first word, Mickey Mouse.
Asshole.
Good. Indonesia.
Gremlins.
Waterbed.
Sharknado.
Good point. Valid. Yes, I'll give that a 2. Yes. Scott Simmons.
Cleveland Steamer.
Alexa.
Asshole.
Barbados.
Rub punch.
Excellent. Dolly Parton.
Titties.
I have to agree. Right there. Debbie Does Dallas.
Art.
Yes, yes. The Yellow Pages.
Car salesman.
Anal beads.
Yummy.
Gummy bears.
Yummy.
Oh, you've cracked Ron Murphy up. You've broke the Ron Murphy experience. I'm having laughter, Scott. I'm having laughter. I haven't laughed this way since my ex died, accidentally when she drowned in that pool after somebody hit her in the head with a hammer. Oh, Lord.
I
Oh,
don't
jeez.
think that was an accident,
Oh,
Ron.
Lord. Okay. That's and the uh the final cocaine.
Beautiful.
There you go. Sir, you're a beautiful soul. And you've proven to everybody your beauty and your inner beauty. You've showed it to us. And you've showed everybody who's coming on the scene. Ryan
That's right.
Flanagan is a man that will be coming soon on the scene. Scott
All
Simmons,
over the scene.
just all over the scene. He
Yeah.
is on the face of the scene, coming on it literally.
Yep.
And now, Scott Simmons, do you have any last words and a question you may want to ask?
I have a very deep question. It's so like Ryan, like whenever you're like in your house, what part of your house are you in the most often, and are you naked?
I'm usually in the basement, and when I'm in the basement, I'm naked because I like to do naked carpentry in the basement. It does come with its problems. You could have problems doing that, but I tend to build things like arcs in the basement, and I often do it naked. You should know that because your camera crews are set up, and we usually have the windows open for you. And yeah.
Hmm.
How are there any windows in your basement?
Oh, we had to take the boards out because apparently they couldn't hear the screaming children, and they got mad. And the home inspector said that wasn't up to standards, so we had to put a window in so that people could see to the outside world and maybe escape if they needed to.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. We all we also want to thank our sponsor, the new sponsor of the Ron Murphy Experience, Slappy White Sperm Bank. Yes. Do you need a little extra cash? Do you like to masturbate? Of course you do, like Scott Simmons. Well, don't just throw that stuff on the floor. Take it down to Slappy White Sperm Bank. You'll be coming again soon for some quick change. You're welcome. Thank you.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Our new sponsor, Scott, they're going to be paying us lots of moolah, sweet moolah, all the way.
I
They're
don't
going
know.
to, they're going to see us all coming on the scene now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a top shelf sponsor.
I'm
That
not
really
going to
is.
hear that money.
It really is. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for being such a professional guest, to be on this show, to fly in this age of craziness, and to be being such a social justice warrior, standing up against those evil Nazis that are out there trying to hold back UTV, hold back Ron Murphy. Nobody's holding back Scott because they don't want to touch him. I'm just saying. Anyways, I want to thank you for being on the Ron Murphy Experience. Any last words?
Yes, just thanks for having me, Ron, and King Tex, of course, and just keep fighting the good social justice warrior battle. No one will hold UTB back.
That's true. That's true. We can't be held back because we're coming on this scene all over it. And you,
So solidarity, sister.
yes, yes. Thank you very much. And you're welcome for listening to the Ron Murphy Experience.